Hey guys, welcome in. Sean Salisbury. It is Unpaid with Sean Salisbury, along with my guy Adam Sager. Coach JB is going to be shortly. Along shortly. The real Coach JB, the real Coach JB on Twitter. You remember him from Last Chance U, and obviously author of the book Hate Me Now. Been the Coach of the Year, Coach National Championship Team, and he's also got his show in the morning, the Coach JB Show. And he'll join us every Monday. Schedule-wise, I mean, obviously, you guys know JB and I have been doing this for a while, but he, with his schedule and all the stuff going on in the fall, he'll join us Mondays in the fall. And we'll get to him in just a few minutes. Segs, welcome in, man. What a incredible weekend it was in the NFL. Sloppy teams are still sloppy. The teams that were the best teams in the NFL, like the Philly, the Rams, the Baltimore Ravens, and Buffalo, showed exactly why they're still teams to beat. The Chargers seem to me to be different, and I'm not so sure they're not the best team in the division. I think the Chiefs have come back to the pack. Now, remember, this is all 1 week. Obviously, we're judging on 1 week from last year to this year. It's 1 week. We're going to overjudge. We're going to overanalyze. But that's what we do. And we only got one to judge it on, so if we got to wait till week 8, then hell, then we'll just take off for 8 weeks. We're not going to do that. So Segs and I will be here. JB will be along shortly here. Fire some questions to him on his opening thoughts of the weekend. I think the thing that stuck out to me, a lot of things stuck out, Segs, that we'll get to. The thing that stuck out the most to me, at least I expected it, but it's even new level. While Micah Parsons is going to be great, the Green Bay Packers are nasty. That is a friggin' good defensive team. And an offense that can score from anywhere, they're going to elevate. I'm telling you, they're dangerous in the NFC, and Jordan Love's primed to take another step and obviously earn that pay. But the defense was physical, and the other thing that stuck out in that game is don't tell me that having a great offensive coordinator or losing one doesn't affect you. We saw it affect Philadelphia when they lost 2 to go be Steichen and Gannon as head coaches. Mm-hmm. Then they had a bad year. They came back the next year and won a Super Bowl. Now, this time around, you see it, and I don't know what's going to go on. And Coach, with Aaron Glenn with the Jets, they played better. Chicago, we're going to find out tonight. But Detroit looked like you know what they look like? They look like Jared Goff and Dan at their best, that Dan Campbell at their best. This looked like the team that we haven't seen the last 3 years. This looked like the team that trying to be the team from the last 2 or 3 years. It's at the top of the league and a Super Bowl threat. They got manhandled in every part of the game. They looked disheveled. They looked at times disinterested, and they had their ass kicked, Eggs. So those are some things that stuck out. I know we're going to go through them all, but those are a few things that stuck out to me. Coaching apparently does matter. And apparently the here in Houston, offensive line play looked like Groundhog Day. They couldn't get shit done either, and they still had a chance to win the game in the end, Segs.
Yeah, some things that also stuck out to me. Miami is bad. I don't know how long Mike McDaniel.
They're physical. They're as soft as a wet paper towel, dude. They can't. They're so pathetic when it comes to physicality. It's unreal.
That was Daniel Jones and the Colts who scored every possession. They scored every possession if it was a field goal or a touchdown. They gave up 33 points to the Colts.
Boy, they made the right decision, didn't they? Stiggs at quarterback.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something. Yeah, you mentioned the Packers though. That's what stood out to me. That defensive line is just ridiculously good. Even you lose Kenny Clark, but you get Micah Parsons, and now they can just move those pieces all around with Rashawn Gary. Lucas Van Ness had a really good game. Edgerrin Cooper, the first-round pick from a couple years ago. I mean, they just are loaded with pass rushers. And you could see last year we saw how many times over the last couple years did we see Ben Johnson, what seems like Ben Johnson scheming open Amon-Ra St. Brown to just be wide open.
He owned the Packers. He's not the Packers. He's owned the game you're going to see tonight. Brian Flores and Ben Johnson. Ben's owned him. But it looked like a team that, the Packers look like
just a different offense.
Detroit
right. was running. No question. Like Gibbs and David Montgomery did nothing out of the backfield. I mean, it was just a different Detroit Lions team. And now, like you said, it's week 1. We all got to relax.
That's what we do. Shit, we might as well judge away, dude. It's one game.
You have to, right? You almost said Joe Burrow, 113 yards passing against the Browns. I mean, it's just
the Browns defense was real yesterday.
Yes,
you knew they were going to be Flacco actually played well, and real quick about that, Sags. But I'll tell you this: they finally won a game though in early the openers. I mean, they finally won a game. So even if it was bad statistically, they said they were all in their grill. And Flacco played well enough to prove that stop the Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel talk. It gives you the best chance.
Yeah.
But they gave Cincinnati some troubles. But that doesn't shock me. But Cincinnati got out of it with a win, and field goal kickers all up and down yesterday let their teams down with some shots that were just brutal. And Cleveland being one of them that damn near that it cost their he maybe, I don't know if they've replaced him yet, but their resume is going to be flowing all over in the kicking game this past weekend.
Yeah, and then my favorite thing from the weekend, you mentioned it, the Chargers. I just love the way they look. Keenan Allen, I'm telling you, as a Bears fan, I watched Keenan Allen every game last year. He looked fat. He looked out of shape. He looked like he didn't want to run. It looked like he couldn't run. He looked like a completely different player going back to the Chargers.
Well,
he looked
that's what made him great was when he was a Charger, right? Yeah,
exactly. So now, and Quentin Johnston looked good. And then, of course, Lad McConkey's a great slot receiver.
Herbert played Mahomes he was the better quarterback in the game, no doubt.
The Chiefs looked old and slow. And they've looked like that since Tyreek Hill left. But Rashee Rice will help once he's back and stuff. I'm not.
Yeah, but they're pedestrian right now on offense. Yeah,
yes,
they're a little pedestrian.
There's got to be a little bit of concern for if you're.
It's Mahomes and Andy Reid, so they'll score. But they are no longer in Baltimore or Buffalo's class offensively. They're not. The quarterback is. I'm talking about as an overall team. And back to this Miami Dolphins team, which we'll get to. Has it literally been a year since Tyreek Hill's had a 30-yard plus play? Dude, that's alarming with his speed. We'll get to that. That team, you might as well keep putting joggers on the sideline because I got news for you. They ain't winning no tough guy game. They don't know how to do it.
And one thing I want you and Coach JB to talk about, the run games yesterday all over the league besides the Baltimore Ravens, who ended up losing that game. The run games just did not look good for the most part across the NFL in week one. Is that a thing where, you go into a season without, preseason, you're only getting a handful of snaps, so you can't really gel? Is that kind of the cause of this? Or what do you guys have the reason why?
I appreciate it. I'm going to bring JB in right now. Let's bring in the real Coach JB or _ JB at Twitter. The real Coach _ JB at Twitter. You got the Coach JB show that every morning pre this one is on. You can get it on StreamYard, but you get it on YouTube, wherever your stuff and your listening and viewing pleasure is. JB, it's a great show, and it's real as could be. And JB is involved. JB, good to have you on, brother. To answer Seg's question about the run games, here's the way I look at it, Jay. There's a lot of things. Defenses are usually ahead of offenses at this time, although Buffalo and Baltimore may have you think different after that offensive performance. That's one. Two is we shortened training camp and pussified it so much, JB. You can't have two practices in a row in pads. So there's the physicality, and the teams aren't good enough to turn it on and off like a light switch. Hell, even Detroit didn't look physical. Their run game, but they didn't control the line of scrimmage, as we talked about Green Bay did. Training camp, the softness of training camp, how short training camp is, the physicality, we just don't teach it. We titty block and pillow fight a lot of times, JB, and I think has a lasting effect, or at least a first month effect on teams until you can get back into it. The physicality of this game is kind of taken over for high school and college. Everything seems to be finesse until you need a championship one, and then Philadelphia kicks Kansas City's ass and wins one physically. So good to have you on, brother. That stick out to you too, man. The lack of physicality in a run game across the league, or just better defenses because it's the first week.
Yeah, and the lack so we had so much turnover coordinator wise. If you look in the league, look at the teams that played. They were all new. There was half the league as new coordinators, either offense or defense. So that's going to take some time. It is week one, but like I'm like you, and you like me. I'm judging everything. There's not really a lot of games you can have. There's no free passes, so these games will matter at the end of the day. So
that paycheck cashes, right, JB? They're cashing their checks, and we got to judge it.
I'm judging it. Yeah, I'm judging it. The Dolphins, obviously, we know they're not going to run the football anyway. And then on the road, that was pretty much a lock pick if you're better to take the Colts at home. The Dolphins are just soft-cultured. I don't believe he makes it through the year. I think he's an Eberflus in the making, like they did in Chicago. They'll let him go mid-season. I think he's going to probably not make it. So we'll see. But the run game, it's a 7-on-7 era, Sean. We're in 7-on-7. We got guys out here in Green Bay with helmet condoms on in the game. Like in the game, the wideout had the deal on, like
over on top of the helmet, right?
Yeah, the condom, yeah. So like it's a mockery, man. Like you're telling me that they want to go in there. Did you see the great addition by subtraction that Pittsburgh lost? George Pickens in Dallas. How many times did you see him sniff out a block inside? He missed 4 in a row. He didn't want to stick his head in there. Guy flew right by, made the tackle.
He's no Hines Ward. I can tell you ass when it comes to blocking people, brother.
Overpaid under deliverer, man. I'm gonna be honest. But listen, man, we're in a 7-on-7 era, and then in the 7-on-7 era, when I say that CeeDee Lamb is overpaid, everybody comes at me and you're a hater. We're in 7-on-7. Aren't you paid to catch the goddamn football? I'm just saying. You drop 4 balls, you can have 100 yards all you want. You drop them when it matters, though. It's all we remember. I don't care about the 7 for 100. I remember the 3 you dropped to win the game.
That's like solo home runs when you're down 8 runs. Is that what you're saying, JB? Yeah. You get the catches when it's not on the line, but when it's on the line, you lay a couple on the ground. Now, he's a hell of a player, but you can't, especially on the road against a Super Bowl team. Can't.
Hey, you're a baseball guy. Did we remember that Yamamoto goes into the 9th the other day with a no-no? Or did we remember he gave up fucking 4 and loses the game to the goddamn Orioles?
No, we remember that a team that's not going to make the playoff, the Orioles, have continued the Dodgers sputter at the plate and ruin a no-no 8 2/3 in and win in dramatic fashion with a horrible throw to the plate to win the game. And Baltimore fans are going crazy. Yeah, no, you're exact. Matter of fact, JB, that was one of the mind-boggling, real quick games over the weekend, baseball-wise. But you know what's crazy? Right when you brought it back up, I'm thinking, oh, who was it again? Oh, that's right. I had to, and you know me, I'm a baseball guy. I had to remember who it was throwing the no-hitter. I knew who won the game, though. So that takes you back to that. But let me ask you about it. Is the field – should the Cowboys – is there something – tell us more about the Cowboys with a chance or more about Philadelphia that they didn't just put their foot on their throat and bury them? Which one was it?
Man, I actually picked the Cowboys to win that game 1. I just thought it was a hangover the Eagles would have. And you could tell it was a little bit. And then they kind of figured it out and got their thing going. And obviously you felt Micah Parsons' pass rush not being there. But I also saw a team come together a little bit and say, all right, we're going to be all right. But then you get the drop balls that you need. And it's just the same Dallas Cowboys. Like at the end of the day, it's the same Dallas Cowboys, a team that CeeDee Lamb drops balls when it matters. Dak Prescott, everybody's bitching and moaning. He throws into double coverage. Well, he wouldn't have thrown into double coverage if CD would have caught the ball the play before because it would have been first down. Like, they don't understand how football works, so it's the same old thing, though. Cowboys will Cowboy at the end of the day for the last 31 years it will be, I believe. So, at the end of the day, the Eagles just came off winning a Super Bowl, been to 2. They knew how to win. The Cowboys are finding out how to win again, and I don't know, man. It's going to be a struggle if they can't run the football. They have not replaced the running game from the Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith, even an early Ezekiel Elliott,
Teron Smith and that group up front, right?
They have not replaced. I don't know if for the life of me why the Dallas Cowboys can't find a running back. Everybody else getting free agents every year. Derrick Henry goes to Baltimore.
Yeah, but he was done. Remember JB? Oh, he's washed up, right?
Chubb,
he's playing better football now.
Yeah, right. You lose Chubb to Houston. Houston gets Chubb, but Dallas doesn't. Like, I'm just trying to figure out why Dallas hasn't figured out a real-time, big-time running back. So I don't know. But until they can run the football, if you're going to put all this on Dak Prescott, even though he makes $60 million and it's fair to, I'm cool with it. You got to still run the football at some point to hold back, pinning their ears back and just rushing the passer.
Well, JB, it doesn't really matter. Listen, eventually you're going to get caught up to if you can't run it a little bit. You just are. You can't push the line of scrimmage. You're going to get caught up to. Is the league Chargers close the gap? The whole AFC West closed the gap on the Chiefs. The Chiefs seem a step behind to me, JB, especially offensively.
No doubt. I believe in Andy Reid, no question. I'm a Andy Reid guy. I've been on him over at the Mahomes side. I think Andy Reid saves that. And I'm the critical guy of Mahomes. But he's showing what he's been the last 3 or 4 years to me. It's a lateral dink and dunk RPO. Get the ball out quick, and you don't have Tyreek Hill to spread the field and threaten anybody deep. and give the big arm Mahomes a shot to throw it deep. And you haven't seen him throw football in the teeth of the coverage in 3 years. I mean, let's be honest. I've watched more Chiefs film than any other team. They don't throw football. He don't throw comebacks. He don't throw bang eights. He don't throw dig routes. He throws things that are wide open, deep maybe. But as far as progression wise, it's bubble out, pop to the tight end.
Option to the tight end, a little choice route to the tight end,
and
right?
Kelsey's not the same tight end. To Seg's point, they're old looking. Now, they have the best left tackle, in my opinion, in football. That's the biggest get in the offseason in football. That he's legitimate. He is as good as it gets. So Mahomes has a blindside left tackle for a while, as long as he's still in the league, in my opinion. But other than that, Sean, Kareem Hunt looks like a shell of himself. He's stiff. The running game, I know Pacheco, all these other guys. I don't like their run game. I do not like their talent on the outside, even with a Rashee Rice or whoever. Now you lose your most dynamic. You lose your most dynamic skill set player in the slot. You got a stiff Juju. He's not a guy that's
stiff as the what, JB?
Porn dick. Sean, he ain't threatening nobody. You and I could just get into quarters and backpedal and fucking not get beat deep over the top on him. So
he ain't challenged me in that slot 10 to 12-yard little post. He ain't getting me there.
Sean, the Chiefs, I'll tell you right now, the Raiders are better. Denver's defense may be the best in the league, right there with Cleveland.
Dude, I got them on my fantasy team. You want to talk about a filthy-ass defense now.
Yeah,
those dudes. And Bo Nix got it going. They struggle offensively, but they're going to be better though. They'll be better offensively. I agree.
And then the Chargers. This could be very well a Super Bowl team. I'm seriously. Eric Weddle came on show today. He thinks Rams Chargers could be a serious bet for a Super Bowl to match up.
You arguing with him after the first weekend? And the Rams left it to the point where they're going to score more. Very few teams are going to keep them there. Then the Texans still had a chance, but the Texans. Offensive line gets pushed around and bullied. They moved around. I mean, it's crazy how much you can play in their backfield. And when they do protect, they're still walking your ass back into the quarterback. And Stafford and Puka, that's the best 1-2 back and forth combo, and the balls to call plays. And I didn't like how the Texans didn't attack vertically at all. Segs, they let Nico Collins, with 4 catches for 30 yards or 20 yards. They didn't even go after. They allowed the Rams to squeeze them, and the Rams front seven's real too now. They'll control the line of scrimmage. Chubb had one of those hard over there. Yeah. But the Rams, dude, Stafford, even with if that's how Stafford's going to play with the back, God forbid to the rest of the NFC if he gets healthy.
That was bait. Yeah. That was bait to the league. He ain't hurt. That motherfucker's ready to go. And
he made some throws yesterday, dude, that were off balance, off schedule, and on schedule. The guy's a monster.
John, I start a franchise today with Josh Allen.
I
start a franchise.
Yes.
But if I need one throw, it's Matthew Stafford.
Well, into windows that most guys won't even try to, that he can fit in. Dude, the ball still jumps out of his hand. It's got such a late life on it.
60,000 yards. He made it quicker than Marino, almost 400 touchdowns. He's a shoe-in Hall of Famer, right?
Oh, yeah. And the Super Bowl ring just adds an exclamation point to it. Matter of fact, he's in pre-MVP. Put the MVP aside. Put not the MVP. Put the Super Bowl aside, JB. He's in before Rivers and Matt Ryan both, regardless of the win.
And
I love them both. Right. And listen, Phillip Rivers may get in. Matt Ryan's not going to get in, even with the MVP. But he had a hell of a career. And Eli, obviously, with Super Bowl rings, are going to get in. But I can make the argument, even without what Stafford's done throughout his career, considering. And then you get him, you make a change, and you take a risk. Boom, guy pops right in there and wins you a Super Bowl. So, there's no doubt he's a Hall of Famer. He may not get in on the first ballot. I actually think he might, depending. He should. But even if he has to wait a ballot or two, it's a no-brainer for me. And Stafford, again. And you know what, JB, for a big thrower, a lot of times big throwers like that aren't as accurate. He's as good a mid-range throw as we've ever had in the league. You and I, talk about pounding the outside lanes with comebacks. He'll throw the sail route as good as anybody. He's got that deep over route that he can throw off play action that McVay puts him in. And I'll tell you what, he's throwing some shit off schedule because he's got that whip of an arm. He doesn't need to have his feet set or his arm angle.
You got Devontae Adams, who's glue hands. So he only had 5 catches for 53 yards, but guess what? He's digging them out the dirt, shit that other wideouts ain't doing.
What an upgrade for them, man.
He's an all-in number 2 right now. He's an all-in number 2 guy, and he's a great number 2 guy to have, let me tell you. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Back to the Chiefs, though, real quick. That AFC West, not only is it the greatest coach, division, but let's be honest, you can attest to this and talk about it more than I can. But aren't the games before the games the big ones? And here's what I mean. The Raiders are no longer an easy game, or they're not an easy out. So they're going to beat you up. And if you play the Raiders on a Sunday and you do get by them, let's say, and you got a Thursday night game in the division as well, this is a Chiefs team that may not even make it to the AFC playoffs. I'm just going to be honest, because I'm not saying the Raiders are a playoff team, but I'm saying the Raiders are going to be a hard out. I am saying the Chargers and the Broncos are a playoff team, and that's 2 right there in your same division. And now we got a discussion out there in the AFC, because the AFC North, we don't even know what's going to happen there. You got the Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers, and the Browns are the same as the Raiders. They're not going to be an easy out in that division. And then and now you got, the Jets look pretty damn good, even though they lost. Justin Fields looked really good, and a team that mustered 32 points and ran the offense seemed like seamlessly and much better than it looked under Aaron Rodgers. And they got something going. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I'm just saying the AFC East.
He looked closer to the guy he was in Green Bay than I've seen him since he left, JB. His quick movement, his movement on schedule, off the ball was coming out on the quick stuff with accuracy, give him a chance to run. He looked good. And I'll tell you what, that's the most in command I've seen Justin Fields look.
Yeah.
In a while. It really is. And they're going to take some people down with them. No doubt.
Sean, we gotta start giving Burrow some heat, though. We gotta start calling this what it is, because at the same time, we're gonna give Jalen Hurts and all these other guys, have all this talent, but they're just bus riders. Cam Newton and myself, we're on that same. I don't know if I put Jalen Hurts in my top 10, but I do love what he does with that team.
He's perfect for that team.
That team. You imagine Josh Allen in Philly, but that's a whole other discussion.
I can imagine Josh Allen in a lot of places. And Buffalo's like, don't imagine him anywhere but here, right?
But Cincinnati, you have Joe Burrow. You signed the 2 highest paid wideout tandem, and Sean, to muster 20 fucking yards in the entire second half. 20 yards? Now, I think Cleveland's defense is good, but you're in the NFL, aren't you? I mean, you got 3 guys making damn near $300 million. 20 yards in the second half, that team's got to get it by. Now, the only thing I'll say is, Sean, they figured out how to fucking win the game. And at the end of the day, we'll never remember the 20 yards because they got the win. But last year, they would have found out how to lose that game. This year, they found out a way to win it. So kudos to them to start off hot, because we didn't want to see another 0-1, 0-4, 0-6 start. So kudos to them. But come on, Zach Taylor's got to take some heat along with Joe Burrow on this if we're going to give some heat to these other guys. With
They're with Burrow and that team, they're notorious slow starters. They were able to, and the truth is, if Cleveland's kicker has any clue, Cincinnati doesn't win that freaking game. They do not win it. So you'll take them any way you can get them, because it's hard to win, man. But back to this Burrow thing, and I know your affinity and my affinity for him, the guy, we think he's special. But I'll tell you this, we asked Josh Allen to elevate players around him. We asked
they got Gabe Davis.
We get right, but we asked him to elevate. We asked these guys to raise their game. Matt Stafford, when somebody's injured, not excuses, to elevate your team to another level. Their defense still needs a lot of help, meaning the Cincinnati Bengals, and they've got to muster up more. Listen, I love Burrow but there's another level he's got to get to, especially early in September, where they can't flounder around. Because on any other given day, they're not losing. If a kicker's just halfway decent, they lose that game again in an opener, and their numbers weren't alarming. I believe Burrow can pull them out of this, and they're good. But right now, that offense should be as good as any in the league, JB. And you and I both know it, the way that he throws it, and with those 2 big-time receivers. Alexander Moreno, to answer your question, there is no doubt the University of Tennessee, at least for what they get and the toughness they needed. You see what's going on at UCLA. Nico is a good player, probably more talented. But you give me the way they've upgraded the University of Tennessee. They're a better team, I think, with him. And led better, not David led better, but led better on Saturdays, even though I think Nico's skilled. I know, JB, you know him from high school and back in the day, but I just think Tennessee's more equipped. We'll get on college football as we roll through this week. JB, Baker Mayfield believer? Toughness?
No.
Still not. Why?
He's inconsistent, and it showed yesterday. This is the guy that throws for 5,000 yards one year, and then the next year he'll have a down year, and then the next year it'll be good, and then the next year, to me, he's not the consistent guy. I don't know, Sean. Listen, we can talk about stats, and he's been better than Mahomes stat-wise the last 2 years. We can do all these things, but my eyes work, and so do yours, especially at this position. I like Baker. I think he's good. Big arm, all that stuff he can do. But Mike Evans has an opportunity to have 12 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And it's going to matter. Every game's going to matter. And I'm not just saying we're going to try to get this guy the ball to get his stats and get his record, but to break Jerry Rice's. All I'm saying is you got to get that guy the ball in the thick of things in the offense. And being targeted 2 times, and it seemed like Baker struggled yesterday. And I'm not going to pick on Baker here. Sean, just a little stat real quick.
That throw he made for the touchdown was lights out, right? That's the inconsistency you're talking about, JB, right?
Yes, and that's all I'm saying. Is he a guy that you put all your eggs in one basket with? Like I said, Stafford's my last guy to throw the football. Where's Baker at? Like, he's not in your wheelhouse. He's not your top 5 discussions on a guy to finish a game off, right? Like, we're not going to have that guy in there. It's like, that's my point. Like, I like him and all, but he threw a great ball there to win it, but again, Atlanta misses a field goal, or that game's overtime. So I don't know where I stand with him. I love his grit and perseverance. I love his leadership. He's tough. He wills his team to win. You're exactly right. I love all that. I do. I love all that. But they're also in the worst division in football. No so doubt. Them and possibly the AFC South with Jacksonville.
The 2 Souths are the worst, dude. There's no question. Yeah.
So I don't know, but listen. Amon St. Brown, you alluded to it to start your show with Segs. Coordinators matter. I said before the season, they're going to struggle to score points. Gibbs was not effective, but Amon St. Brown, 1 catch. Look at all the wideouts around the league. Jamar Chase, how many catches?
Not enough.
Higgins had how many? 1? We targeted Brian Thomas in Jacksonville, had 1 catch and 3 targets by a guy that's getting $200 million. Listen, man, bad day for big-time wideouts. A.J. Brown starts the season off versus the Cowboys, and he's going to be reading a book on the sideline again because, again, Jalen Hurts couldn't get him the football. I'm just telling you, these big-time wideouts are going to – that's why we're seeing them move around, because they have to have stats to get the big bag of money that they all want, and they can't get stats if they don't get the ball. So that's why you see all these guys holding in or holding out. And listen – I get it. You wanted to stay in Cincinnati with Burrow, Higgins. And I know Jamar and your boys. But damn, Burrow, 20 yards in the second half, and both your big-time wideouts worth $300 million had nothing. To me, is a telltale sign. Either A, we're not playing enough preseason football. B, we're not practicing together enough in the offseason. Or C, quarterback play is just declining year in and year out, like I've been saying for the last 5 years. I don't know, but it's something to look at.
JB, do you believe the 49ers? Well, in December, what are we going to be saying about the 49ers in December? Overall, how are we going to be talking about them?
Where they draft.
That'll be the most positive thing we're going to be saying about them in December.
Where they drafted. If Shanahan's still the coach, if Lynch is still there, that's what, to me, like they've wasted.
So you think they're in danger zone right now, both of them?
They've wasted the best rosters in football, in my opinion, because this is why I don't know why I take so much heat on this topic. Obviously, I'm in LA. I grew up a Rams guy. We hated the Niners. We hate the Giants. We hate all the Northern California teams, of course, and we do it in a fun manner. But here's the issue. During the same time Shanahan's been here with these loaded rosters and have been to several Super Bowls, the guy down south has been to 2-1-1 in Sean McVay. So I got to be honest here. You got to really look at this like the same thing Purdy did, he did with porn star Jimmy. Lost the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, what are we talking about? Isn't it winning Super Bowls? I don't remember Steve Young and Jerry Rice saying, oh, we got there, man. We're elite. We lost, though. No, man, this is the Niners, the team of the 80s, the team that battled Dallas in the 90s. Like, I don't understand why we give this guy such a pass in Frisco.
Let me ask you this, JB, about that. Listen.
And Kittle's probably got it for weeks, by the way, already.
What's that? Kittle, I know, with the hamstring. Yeah.
CMC is not even the same.
This team. But we don't. McCaffrey, it's a week to week basis. If you're going to have what you're going to get out of him,
and he had 20
Kittle's banged. Yeah, oh, I know. But Kittle, that team's been banged up with injuries. I mean, but to key players, and they were again last year. So let me ask you about this hall pass. We know Shanahan's name. We know he can coach, or he wouldn't have got his teams there. But they have had a lights out roster for about a half a dozen years now. Now their wide receiver position this year leaves something to be desired. I'm still waiting on them. The Ayuk situation, Jennings. I mean, to get healthy and be content playing wide receiver in San Francisco. But as an offensive coordinator,
and it don't help. Not to cut you off. It don't help that Debo scored in Washington already.
Yes, he did, and made an impact in the game yesterday. So let me ask you. Sometimes we talk about players and the stage being too big. We give coaches credit when things happen and they're gone and somebody else doesn't succeed and they go and they make something happen somewhere else. So as a coordinator, he lost the Super Bowl, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls and lost them both as a head coach. Is that correct? With 2 different quarterbacks.
Yep.
Is the stage too big for Kyle Shanahan in a Super Bowl, or is it players related? When does he get flack for not being able to close it out like other coaches have?
I don't know. I'm the only one that's been calling him out for the last 7 years. I mean, I think he's the most overhyped coach in football. Like, name me another team that's had that much talent that didn't get it done. I'm just saying, name me a team. McVay did it after one trade. He took Goff to the Super Bowl on a rebuild and then loses to New England, obviously, in a low-scoring game, legendary coach of all time possibly, and then he makes a trade and wins it. And who they beat to get there? The Niners. So, like, I'm trying to decide what excuses do we have last year for the Rams to go as far as they did, a play away from beating the Super Bowl champs, possibly having another Super Bowl, because we agree Rams probably win it all if they beat the Eagles. So where are we at with the Rams? Why do the Niners get so many passes and these other guys don't? Like, you can argue all you want. We watched the Atlanta game up on Tom Brady 28-3. You can blame the head coach because we sit in this seat, so we're going to get the blame for the wins, and we're going to get the praise and the law and the blame, right? But he had full autonomy over the offense. We all know that. He's one of the few guys that had full autonomy over the offense, wasn't told what to do by his head coach when it comes to that. He lost that Super Bowl. He lost the Super Bowl. I've watched the game 1,000 times. He's lost 2 Super Bowls. He was up 12 points with 6 minutes left against Kansas City, Sean, in a Super Bowl, and lost again the same way he lost in Atlanta. Same way.
And his quarterback was 3 of 11 in that game, meaning Garoppolo in the fourth quarter, second half, whatever it was.
Where we watched a game yesterday, and Josh Allen, who I said I'll start a franchise with, who throws for 269 in the fourth quarter alone.
His performance.
So
he's become the best. He may be the best player in football. I mean, there's some good play. I'm talking about all around player. Yeah. Maybe not the purest quarterback because he's running, where he's just we seem to think pure quarterbacks, Marino, dropping back and throwing for the pocket. There's no better player at their position than the way Josh Allen is playing the quarterback position. And that's saying something because Lamar's good. Hurts is good. We know Mahomes has been good. Stafford can rip it. I mean, Josh Allen is playing. I mean, there's 4 minutes to go. They're down 15, man.
But you never felt they were out of it, though.
No, especially with that cat. Other guys, I would have said it's done.
You a football guy, me and you both. I was sitting here like, this game's
don't turn this bitch off. There's no doubt.
Even after the second half, 27-13, they come. Ravens get the ball after the field goal to end the first half, which was great clock management. We've seen some good clock management by head coaching. Andy Reid did it in Brazil on Friday. Get that fast field goal out there, knocked it out. Great time management. That's the number one thing you look at for a head coach to get things done and manage. And then McDermott did it yesterday. 1 second left. They run a fake Hail Mary, and then they run the deep dragger, which we used to run a lot of. Throws it, gets out of bounds, kicks a field goal. And then the Ravens come out second half, get the ball first, and score. Still 27-13. It's a 2-game score, but a 2-score game. And I'm like, this game's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
I already wrote my lead in for today's show in the third quarter saying it's going to be a shootout. I already knew it was a shootout, and then it ended up being, the best game of the football season to start, and it was a great game. But let me ask you, like, Lamar Jackson threw the ball 19 times. To me, that's an indictment.
That's not enough, though.
on the
That's not going to be enough. Yeah.
Fuck no, it's an indictment. I don't want you with the football. Like, am I the only one? Listen, I understand how great he is. Let's be clear. He's a freak of nature and a great kid. All that shit. I know it all when it comes to him. But what I'm saying is, Rome, when he had him, they all try to manage the game without him having the football in his hands in big time situations, and that's
why do you think that is? Because during the regular season, he's great. He's been great doing it.
The thing is,
why would you only throw 19 times in a 40-point game? Maybe because Derrick Henry was destroying the line of scrimmage. Maybe
he was, but he only had 29 carries. Here, see, this is the thing. I broke this game down already, and I'm trying to figure out. They had 50 football plays. If you throw the ball 29 times, which I said on my show, you give him 10 more opportunities with the ball in his hand, Lamar. I think it creates 15 more football plays. Now
he's going to make the majority of them. He's
because out of those 10 dropbacks, Sean. I mean, let's be honest. How many are he's going to break?
He's going to run 3 of them. He's going to miss a throw, hit 5, and do something else with the last one, no doubt.
Listen, I don't have nothing in front of me. I just know because I watched this game all night long and for my show on DV Sport. 19 first downs. Buffalo had 29. Buffalo had the ball 35 minutes to Baltimore's 25 minutes. Baltimore ran 50 football plays in an NFL game. The Buffalo Bills ran 80.
That's more like a college game for them on the other side. The 80, 85 plays is college
but
stuff.
You got to have 65 plays in the NFL,
That's
right?
the average. Between 62 and 69, 68, right in that 65 plays. Yeah, you're running 50. That's about 15 short of what you need to. And that's a handful of possessions to put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands and give you a chance. 50 plays. And yet they still hung – They still hung 40 on him, right?
All defenses, I think, have major problems. We can talk about they may be the 2 best teams in the AFC right now, but it's week 1. Listen, pump our brakes on that whole discussion. We don't know who's good. Denver might come in and shut both of these teams down. You don't know how good. Cleveland might shut Baltimore down. Their defense is so good. We don't know. What I'm saying is this. 2 great quarterbacks we got to see. My question to you as a quarterback guy is like, why 19 pass attempts? And listen, he was 14 of 19 and 150-something yards. To me, it's not enough.
Completed 70+%, right?
Yeah, it's not enough. We can talk all this. Oh, you're hating JB. No, it's not enough. My best player has to have the football in his hands more. Whether it's a pass or
both of those teams, yeah.
Right. 50 football plays is not going to get it done. And we can talk about the fumble and all that. Well, guess what? Maybe the ball's in the hand more. You don't fumble. I'm just saying, you can talk about ifs and fifths and all that. But at the end of the day, listen, Josh Allen did what he had to do. And everybody said, well, he only won because of the fumble. Well, Buffalo also went for 3 fucking times.
Well, why do people always say that? Well, I hear it all the time. Well, you know what? If we don't fumble at the end, but motherfuckers, you fumbled.
I don't understand that.
You fumbled. It happened in another game. I hear Texas says, well, if we don't fumble, you didn't secure the ball and he punched it out. You fumbled. Well, if Baker Mayfield doesn't make if Baker Mayfield doesn't make that throw, well, bitch, you gave him a post to the back of the end. He made the throw.
Dak don't throw the pick six. Dak don't throw the pick 6 in Frisco 2 years ago. Dallas wins a playoff game. No shit.
Yeah, right. I mean, we want to go through all. I could if, ands, or buts, and if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle till the cows come home. Yeah, no kidding. If Baltimore had 15 more throws or 15 more plays to get to 65, they probably have another 100+ yards and may win the game. There's all these ifs. Well, if we had Bill Belichick as coach, if Tom Brady come out of retirement, if Bo Nix keeps getting better, if Sean Payton, I mean, of course. But there's 6 or 8 ifs in every game. They say, man, if we'd have done this different. But the deal is, it was forced upon you, and you didn't do it different, so you go home with a loss. If you're fortunate, you make some mistakes and still escape with a win, like Cincinnati did, like Tampa did. I mean, the list goes on and on yesterday. It could have been the Jets.
Sam Darnold jacked the ball off on himself. They beat Frisco.
Yes, and on the other side, Frisco gave them a chance with Brock Purdy's throw into. I don't know what the hell he was thinking throwing that ball there.
Pretty average. I'm just going to be honest.
Throwing that, and then he comes back and hits the touchdown pass on a great crazy stuff. You're exactly right. You're looking and say, well, Sam made some great throws in the friggin' game.
The
and by the way, and Geno Smith just keeps plodding along, dude, putting up numbers, tuning another 300+, 350+ yesterday.
He's going to be an elite back.
Who's that? Oh,
Jim,
yeah.
you
He's
and I
he's a fantasy back for me. I freaking
we
love him,
argued
man.
last year because I thought that was the Heisman, but the only reason I'm continuing to say he should have won the Heisman is look at what Boise did without him to start the season against South Florida. He's definitely was their team, and I don't know if you can say that about the other players in college football last year.
They haven't had a thumper. I mean, Josh Jacobs, big physical guy, but we know with Lynch and that I mean, this guy's going to be a hell of a player in the league. I'm with you 100%. Okay,
I think
JB.
Bowers will be all right. I don't think Mayer makes it through the season. I think they'll trade him. I think he's disgruntled. But Geno threw that pick that was bad. And other than that, he looked good. Drake May, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, and Jaden Daniels all look like CJ did last year. Sophomore slump will bite you. Sophomore slumps will bite you. I don't expect it. Don't expect. I think they're going to have some struggles.
Rough patches, but
rough.
One thing about Jaden Daniels' ability to buy time is really good. I know what you're saying.
They're going to be great.
The coordinators are going to play him different. They now know it's like a pitcher who faces a hitter enough times. You start to get an idea where his strengths and weaknesses are, and if you pound him up because he can't catch up the fastball, all those things. All right, JB, before I let you go, your biggest concern in football, the one that made you say, nah, these guys ain't it, and the one that made you say, okay, they're different.
Miami Dolphins, he's not going to make
worse than you even thought, right, JB?
Yeah, they're about. Yeah, I've been saying it all. I said there's just no way. This guy's not a leader of men. Number one, I mean, he walks around, got shades on. He looks like a cool guy. He got behind the scene. If you look at all the videos over the years, like he's the cool guy on like Tropical Thunder that's walking out, and then behind him, the whole fucking forest burned up on fire and it blew up, and he didn't notice it got a bomb dropped on it. He's that guy.
He wants to be their friend more than he wants to be their coach. Is that what you think? He wants to buddy up?
He's oblivious. You got Tyreek Hill has more babies than touchdowns. You got a guy that hasn't had a 30-yard catch in over a year. He's back there bitching and moaning in the first quarter already, arguing with the assistant coach. And then you got on the sideline a bunch of just pockets of shit happening. Have you noticed there's no leadership whatsoever? You arguably have the two most explosive wideouts in football, Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
Well, I know combination-wise, they're the most explosive together.
And you can't get the ball?
Close, but that speed, oh, my gosh, man.
And you can't give him the football? Like, Tua maybe took another concussion. Like, at what point is he going to we're done? What point is that? And then what point are we saying, you know what? One coach got fucked by this organization, and this new coach actually is fucking the organization. Excuse my French. Brian Flores got screwed, and everything that he said so far has been spot on 1,000%. He didn't want Tua. He wanted Herbert. He didn't get him.
It's no mystery why the Minnesota Vikings are playing better football, too. Yeah.
One guy's a real football coach, though, by the way. I think he went 2-0 versus Belichick head-to-head as the head coach.
Go tell Flores to wear those duds that your boy McDaniel has on, and you'll be like,
no.
Like,
come on, man. What are we doing? This guy needs to go back and run the books at E-Trade and stop coaching. Like, that's what he is. He's a joke on the sideline. He's not a really – come on, Sean. Are you going to really run
No. You know what he is, JB? He's the guy – leaders of men matter as much as X's and O's guys do as a head coach. Yeah. He's a guy, what you do, JB, you bring him back to San Francisco, and he's your run game coordinator because he's really good at dialing it up with Shanahan, and he's the analytics guy that can put all the numbers in and do it all. But when he's got to stand up there in front of a team and take them through a battle that's going to be royal and physical ass whooping, dude, I'm telling you what, they're as soft as that doggone the thing you put in your ear or the face, the cotton swab you cleaning your face with that. And I'm sure he probably has a little bit of, skincare stuff too. I mean, Mike's got all that stuff taken care of.
Goddamn, Sean.
Smart guy.
Let's be honest. Like, what are we talking about here? This guy is not nobody you want to run through behind.
Ability to sell yourself in an interview in
but
the right way to get hired.
I would fucking love for him to put together a spreadsheet for me.
Oh, dude, you'd have it before you spelled spreadsheet.
I need him to
manage. Boom. He's brilliant with that. Oh,
manage my fucking money or something.
You know what he should do? If you could do this, you could be the head coach and just call plays and design them. But when you had to address the team and stand up, you have somebody else be the guy who's the general in front of the team. You just behind the scenes sit back there and call plays. But the one thing about it is finesse begat finesse. That's who they are, dude.
Sean,
they don't understand physicality.
On a macro level, I think success of the success, even though I just talked shit about him and bashed him, but the success of Shanahan in Frisco and his father obviously being a unbelievable head coach, and Mike Shanahan and everything that we know about that family. The success Frisco had in the last 5 or 6 years that put them in this Super Bowl conversation every year and putting together these offenses that have been lights out and all this talent. Well, guess what? That got this guy a job in Miami. And to be honest, it is almost a double-edged sword because we tag these guys as coordinators on paper, but really they're not. So he never called a play in Frisco, but he was the what? Offensive coordinator on paper so that we can get them jobs. That's what head coaches are.
You can pay him extra with the title.
Our jobs are to get you another job as a coach. So if I'm not getting guys, I got 13 guys D1 jobs underneath me on Netflix. That was my job. I want to get you where you couldn't get yourself, get you a job, promote you, boom, 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 grind your ass, but I'll get you a job because I'll title you as a coordinator, recruiting coordinator, even though I was a recruiter. I'll tab you these things. NFL's no different. That's what these guys do. Kevin O'Connell got the head job in Minnesota because he was Sean McVay's titled OC. If you think Kevin O'Connell called a play over Sean McVay, you're crazy. He did not. But he's done a good job. He took it, and now he's doing a great job as a head coach, right? Eric Bieniemy, Sean, he didn't call it goddamn play in Kansas City, but guess what? He was the OC. So guess what?
It was always Andy. Think about those. Zach Taylor. Kevin
Zach
O'Connell.
Taylor. Yeah.
D'Amico was coaching on the defense side. Robert Saleh. I'm not saying these guys can't coach. The LaFleur brothers.
And no, you're making a great point because I was next. Saleh got a head job. Why? I'm just telling you.
Dude, and what about this now? Think about this. I think isn't Zach Robinson, didn't he tell you, is he calling plays now for the Rams? Or he's not calling them, but is he the coordinator or the passing game coordinator?
You mean in
the
Houston?
Former Oklahoma State. No. That's Nick Cayley, who came from that as well.
No,
as did Bobby Slowick. I know. No. Dude,
yeah.
He was the tight end coach and passing game coordinator. He didn't call plays, but he's now the coordinator in Houston.
Yeah.
Bobby Slowick was the passing game coordinator in San Francisco. The tree has produced him. And what I'm saying, I think Zach Robinson, who was an Oklahoma State quarterback, worked for PFF's, done a little bit of this. He's next in line. He's a guy calling, maybe with the Rams, he was with him. He might be somebody else actually calling plays. But that tree just is automatically, they go, we got to hire him because they're young and they know offense. And they do, but some of them, it's a matter of leaders from men and not. Okay, what's the great thing before I let you go? Would you say that stuck out the most for you is really blatant that you loved over the weekend?
Better football, man. And I attested to we actually had more preseason. We played more this year. The guys actually said, Mahomes and
in games you're talking about. Yeah,
these big name guys. Aaron Rodgers showed up for camp. He didn't have a fucking Egyptian fucking vacation set up. Listen, attitude reflects leadership. He wasn't coming to Mike Tomlin's organization and doing what he did in New York. He wasn't bringing his own players, his own offensive coordinator, all that shit. So Pittsburgh sticks out to me as the biggest positive because Aaron Rodgers 4 touchdown opener and he looked great and all that. Can that be sustained? I don't know. But overall play, I thought there were better. It was better overall play than it was a year ago to start the season. And we saw better play because of the preseason contribution. I think we played more in the preseason because our stars actually chose to play in preseason games. C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, they all played preseason games. And I think it mattered. Burrow said, no, I want to start. I want to play. They played preseason games. I thought it caught on. I thought more guys played in the preseason. We didn't take the option route out like the NBA does with this whole, sit out load management. And I thought it was great. I thought that we're ahead of the curve for what we were a couple years, the last couple years. So hopefully we can sustain it. Justin Fields looked good. We got guys that look actually like they knew what they were doing at the position of quarterback. And listen, Sean, quarterback drives the league. If quarterback play is average, the league is average. The quality of the play is shitty if the quarterback play is shitty. Quarterback play was better, but can we get that to be sustained? We'll find out.
It's the Coach JB show. You get it every morning, Monday through Friday, with Big Smitty as well. And as you know him, he comes on here every single Monday. You can get him at @therealcoach_JB on Twitter. You love his stuff. And if you're looking for some laughs, but also some real stuff, deep, hardcore, good football talk, That's the man to get it from. JB, great
Hey,
stuff,
Tyler,
brother.
before I leave, real quick, you mentioned Oklahoma State. Can he fucking walk in and resign?
Dude, he replaced you're talking about Gundy. He replaced every coordinator, every coach got replaced, but I think it was the special teams or coach that stayed. Dude, they were an embarrassment on Saturday.
Me and him
You're talking about Gundy, right?
Yeah, we hate each other, so I just want to bring it up. But
you did?
Yeah, we hate each other. But
Oh,
here's the issue.
Okay.
I kicked him out of my office on Netflix. But here's the issue. This wasn't NEO junior college in Oklahoma, was it? Because they played Oregon, but they're also like got big money, resources.
You mean a D1? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Aren't they a big conference school? Like did they have like a billionaire booster for a long, long time? Rest in peace,
yeah.
Pickett, Pickett.
T. Boone Pickens, yeah.
Like they were NIL before NIL existed. So I'm just saying that is a mockery to Oklahoma State and what they did. And I get it. He's an alum. He's been there, all that shit. I understand. I don't know what his buyout is, but that right there is an embarrassment. And to go in before the game and tell Oregon that basically we don't belong here is what he really said. And Lanning took that shit and threw fire and flames on it. And he said, I'll fuck score 100 on your ass. I don't care.
I'm going to tell you, man, that team, JB, right now, that football program has fallen because they're usually Gundy's been good for nine or 10 every year. But the last couple of years, they've gone to hell in a handbasket. It's getting stale there. And they got good recruiting. They can go get people. And don't kid yourself. They got some oil and gas money too. It's just a matter of what they want to spend. They got curb stomped and boat raced to the point they look like an FCS school. They did, and they had a bad one. Not one of the Dakotas, but they look like a bad FCS school.
Son, he needs to just admirably go in and say
it keeps up. You know what, JB? It keeps up about 3 or 4 more weeks. He won't have to do that. Because they'll do it for him.
It's gonna be tough. I don't know if they'll fire him because his buyout's big, and I know he's alum, and
he's been good for them, but this has got to get changed around quickly. Good stuff.
He's not bought in, but I appreciate you. I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, I'll talk to you this week. Great stuff. That's at Coach JB, the real coach _JB on Twitter. Segs, come on back and let's fire away, dude. We got a lot of good stuff from JB. Now it's time for us to voice that same opinion, see if we agree or disagree along the line. But he's spot on a lot of it, including the Miami Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins are so friggin' soft. It's frightening. And even if you're going to be soft, at least be soft and real good at it.
Yeah.
They're not even good at that right now, and they couldn't generate any offense. And one of the fastest players in the league has got no plays over 30 yards in a year. They're not long for that gig there. And you and I.
Yeah, it feels like, and I don't know contract situations. I would have to look into all that, but it feels like this is the time you trade Tyreek Hill. This is the time you start a rebuild. Basically, you're going to be one of the worst.
Fire sale it, right?
Yes.
Sale it.
You sell what is not nailed down to a big contract that would cost you a ton of money. But if you can trade these guys and get anything, a third for Tyreek Hill, whatever it is, I don't know. Trade them.
Miami's not his last stop. You know that, Sig, right?
No. And you start building, you start kind of planning for, you know
what you do? You
really
go all
looking at these
Oklahoma
quarterbacks.
State. You go all, not Oklahoma State, Oklahoma City Thunder. Get with Sam Presti, try to get as many assets as you can and start moving stuff around. Lucy likes Mike McDaniel. He thinks he's hot. She got to die on that hill. Hey, listen, I get that he's hot. I mean, they couldn't. He'd lose a pillow fight to his girlfriend or his wife. But I got news for you. He's smart. They just don't have 1 ounce of physicality in them, dude. We talk about dogs. Their physicality equal dog. They're the smallest puppy in the litter, dude, because they ain't got dogs on that team.
It's pathetic when you watch them. So I mean, you'd still, and the problem is, I just looked it up.
But he's a cutie. He's hot. Lucy thinks he's hot.
Yes, I mean, they did sign Tua to a contract extension. Which, what are you thinking? Like, I mean,
it's a fairly big one at 50 plus too.
Yeah. So I mean, you're kind of stuck with him for a while, but that shouldn't deter you if you go and you finish. You get the top 3 pick. Say you got a number 3 pick. You're looking at Cade Klubnik. You're looking at Lenora Sellers. You're looking at Garrett Nussmeier or Arch Manning or whoever comes out. You're looking at these guys as, okay, can they be our next great quarterback with the Miami Dolphins? I want to know, what is you guys talked about it with JB, but what's your concern meter when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs? If you're putting it, like 1 through 10, week 1, what we saw, they looked old, they looked slow. If it weren't for Andy Reid and Mahomes, it would just be dreadful there.
No Andy Reid, no Mahomes. They finish in last place. They're maybe in last place in the division. I'm not being a smartass either.
No, I mean,
they've got good players. I mean, defensively, with Chris Jones, they got some players, man.
Yeah.
I actually still like the defense the last 3 years more than I do the offense. They are, Segs, when it falls quickly. Now, I can tell you this. The reason I won't bet against them getting it right, it's finding ways to win, is they were dominated. It felt to me like they in the game watching it, and yet they still lost by a touchdown, right? So Mahomes and Andy Reid will keep them alive and well in any game. But there comes a point in time, Segs, where they're just not explosive on offense. Kelsey's slowed down a little bit, although still going to be productive. And I when you get Rice back, and I understand, but you can't keep living like this and thinking players are going to fall off a turnip truck and land in your lap. I'll tell you how I feel. I still think they're a playoff team, but I also think 3 extra years of football is catching up to them too. I think they're beat down. Now it's 1 game, but listen, they get paid for that 1 game. We get to judge for the 1 game. And this isn't 1 game, Segs. Even though they were in the Super Bowl, you look back offensively during the regular season the last 2 years, this defense has carried the Kansas City Chiefs, not named Mahomes. If I'm quarterbacking them, that team wins, 7 games? You get honestly, you know what I'm saying? If somebody else, they are not. Mahomes makes up for a lot of warts or scars you may have, and Andy does too. Maybe the best. I think he's the best coach in the league. There's some on another level, but Andy's in a level by himself, if you ask me. And we know about Mahomes. But I think when you get old, Segs, this. It could happen fast for them, and they also are going to have to be, and they're going to need to upgrade offensively as we move forward. I think they're a playoff team, but I think we just by default give them the division every year. I can't this year. I can't just by default. They'll hang around. I assure you, because the quarterback and the head coach, this football team and a great defensive coordinator, eventually I can tell you this, you can coach your ass off and play your ass off at quarterback. Their talent level is down a notch from what we're used to seeing these last year and a half from them offensively.
Well, and now you mentioned it with Xavier Worthy down, Rashee Rice suspended, excuse me. They've got the Eagles next week at Arrowhead. Then they go to the Giants, which, I mean, the Giants aren't a very good football team. And then they have, and then at home, they welcome the Ravens. I mean, we could be.
They're losing 2 of the next 3. They're going to be 1-3 start in September. Watch.
Right. So, I mean, and now that's going to be really tough if Denver is 3-1 or the Chargers are 4-0, whatever that jump is. It's going to be a tough next 3 weeks. And then they've got a middle part of their schedule too, where it goes Lions, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Broncos. So, I mean, and that's a tough stretch. So there's just a lot of concern right now.
They should be the underdog in the next 2 games. Say, I mean, what'd you say? Baltimore, Philly, and
they go Philly, Giants, Ravens.
They're going to be the dog in 2 of those.
Yeah,
they're going to be the favorite against the Giants, as most teams are going to be the favorite against the Giants. I actually think this is a 1-3 start for them, and they may dig themselves out of it to the playoffs, but they ain't winning 14 or 15 games, having home field advantage. They're in for it, and their own division is going to be a pain in the ass to get through. I'm just telling you, the bottom of that division is no longer the bottom of the division. They're pretty damn good.
Yeah. Do we have a problem in Baltimore with the fourth quarter struggles of not only Lamar Jackson, but just the team overall? 17 or
18 times in what they've lost games. They've given games away with leads.
17 times.
I think in Harbaugh's head coaching career there, right?
Tenure,
And listen, John's a really friggin' good. Jim gets a lot of credit. John's a friggin' great head coach, but there's something about their inability to close, and I'll tell you when it happens too, is in January. The ability not to close there either when it matters. And that's, listen, all we're judging them on now, is what you do in the regular season. How do you close games out? That we know they're going to run it. They're going to be physical. They've got players. Lamar Jackson's a hell of a talent. All those things that go on. But their inability to finish in important games. And last night was an important psychological game. It was important on the record. And it was also important because we got the 2 reigning MVPs, 2 teams that expect to be in the Super Bowl. I got news for you. In January, those two teams will be playing again.
Right.
Baltimore and Buffalo. Now the question is, which one of them does close in January? They will get the chance to close again. Both of them will. We're going to find out which one does close. There is some sayings it can't. If it happens once, twice, one time you say, okay, aberration. 2 times, okay, what's up? 3 times, damn. 3 or 4 times, it becomes a trend. This is an unfortunate trend for them. At times, the wrong time, meaning the Ravens struggles to close out games. Dude, I love watching that team play, but I do think it was Lamar. As much as I say it, Steven 19 throws is still not enough for him, even with Derrick Henry in the backfield, because he's become accurate. Dude, he completed 70% last night. I need the ball in his hand, even if he has to scramble 10 times out of 10 more dropbacks. Guess what? I don't give a shit. The ball has to be in his hand. You know, like we talk about a shelf life for running backs to get pounded on when they hit 30 all of a sudden. Well, it's not happening to Derrick Henry, obviously. Right. But listen, I'm milking the shelf life out of Josh Allen, out of Lamar Jackson. I'm milking it because you know what? I'm going to get it. Look at this. Dude, it seems like every time Josh Allen plays against another great quarterback, it's epic. When he did that with Mahomes, and he, won that playoff game in Kansas City, and Lamar Jackson. We see this movie every year. And those two cats will play against each other again in January. And we're going to find out if John Harbaugh can close out. But Sean McDermott's going to get the same treatment because we're wondering about them in January to get to another Super Bowl, which they haven't been in since Jim Kelly's teams left, right?
Yeah, I think walking out of week 1, and we still haven't seen Bears or Vikings, but I don't think my stance is going to change on what I'm about to say based off that game. I think we clearly come out of this still saying the Eagles, the Ravens, the Bills are the 3 best teams in football. And it's probably on a tier, maybe 2 tiers above the next team because they just have everything.
You said Ravens, Bills, and Eagles?
Eagles, yes.
And you know who's in the very next tier down is Rams, Green Bay, and the Chargers. I think the Chargers have got, they're the notch below those 3. So it's like 3 and 4. And depending on Denver's offense, because their defense is elite. Yeah. And then we're trying to figure out, we still don't know who Pittsburgh is. Cincinnati didn't look the part fully yesterday, even though they won. You can go around the league and find a couple others, but the next level down for me is the Rams, is the Green Bay Packers, and they may have jumped up a level, dude. They were friggin' really good.
They've definitely jumped up.
And then the Chargers, because the Chargers have because it's a culture for them. They'd rather beat you 17-13 punching you in the mouth than they would throwing it 45 times and beat you. Although it's nice to have a 40-point leeway, the Chargers are going to win a lot of one-score games. They just are, because that's who they are.
That's just credit to Jim Harbaugh. A lot of people, still make fun of Jim Harbaugh. A lot of people say he's not that guy. A lot of people say,
because he's not flashy, Skeggs. He doesn't. He lines up under center. They got 2 backs in the backfield at times. Yes, he does it the old school way, and they win with it.
But he builds a culture. He builds a program, and then he wins. He's done it everywhere. And now it's time for him to take this team. And do they have to win a Super Bowl this year? No, but they need to go win a playoff game, need to get to an AFC champ, beat somebody they shouldn't beat. And that's the next step for them.
Did Stanford win with him? They did. And then they won with David Shaw, who was his, who was on his staff. Did the 49ers win with him? Went to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They did Michigan win with him? They won a national championship.
Yep.
Did the Chargers already won a playoffs in his first year there, and now they're one of the favorites in the NFC. You can say whatever you want. You can't hide. He's a good coach, and he elevates his team, and he gets them buying. See, I'm a big buy-in guy, Segs. I say it all the time. You've got to have buy-in. I don't care the talent. If the talent ain't buying in, you're not getting 100% of their talent. You're only going to get 80% of it. When they buy in to the coach, and you've got talented players, it's a whole new level. And I'm just telling you now, that Chargers team appears to be a little different this year. And I'm imagining if I'm Herbert, you're probably tired of getting questioned by guys around the league that keep saying, well, you don't belong in this class. Now, guys that watch quarterback play know that Herbert's a good player, but they're counting on him to win big games. And
he's got the talent.
You're damn right. And he won that big game. I mean, for a first game, that's a big-ass game to go and beat Kansas City regardless of where they played it. So, Jim Harbaugh can coach. I mean, that's a hell of a coaching family. We're going to find out which one of them. Jim still doesn't like the fact that John got him to the Super Bowl,
Right.
and now he wants to. He'd like another opportunity to
now
play
he'll
them
have
in
to
the
do it in
AFC
the
Championship
AFC
game.
Championship.
That's
He won't
exactly
be able to.
right.
We won't have the Harbaugh Super Bowl
No
chance anymore. But Brian Dable says that Russ Wilson will be his starter in week 2. What do you got to see from Russ Wilson to keep his job? Or are you this team isn't very good. We drafted Jackson Dart. Are you let's get Dart on the field, assuming even if the coach says he's ready, should he be on the field over Russ Wilson, who they signed as a free agent?
I felt it was weird yesterday watching that game, Segs, and listening to the broadcast, because that was the early listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
The early games, and Burkhardt and Brady are good together, and I love
Yep.
it. But there was almost such an apologetic for Russ Wilson. Let me tell you how I feel. The guy's had a hell of a career. Like I said, I never make it personal, unlike other broadcasters we know that seem to make it personal. And by the way, Segs, you shouldn't be talking football because
I'm a non-player.
Because according to the guy, well, it's RC, I think, because I see it on his lapel. But
yes.
According to him, Peter Schrager, who they brought there to upgrade the show to help them, is not allowed to talk sports, even though he's covered it forever. It's an embarrassment. That was the disappointment.
The fact he still has a job.
The condescending bullshit that I hear from him every day is driving. Good on Peter. I'm Team Schrager. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
And I'm Team anybody who's got a good opinion and can voice it. You don't have to play the damn thing to be able to sit at a table with a bunch of football players. Because from what I learned from that is one in particular doesn't quite actually understand the game any more than Peter Schrager does, and Schrager understands it. You get my point?
Right.
I'd have rather heard the other guy talk for 1,000 minutes longer than the guy who gave him the old dude. Just might as well put his hand in his face and said, "Quit talking. You're just on here to say we got Peter Schrager." Schrager knows football, and I thought it was kind of weak, but I digress. Segs, I'm going to tell you now, and I like Russ Wilson. I think he's had a hell of a career. I almost feel like the motivation. You know how he goes, no matter what, going up, and it's almost that fake leadership. And I'm not saying it's fake, but it looks it to me. Going up and down, shaking everybody's hand when you're getting your ass kicked, and I know that's a good motivational tool, but I've always said motivation's temporary, discipline's permanent. And I'm going to tell you now, without question, I've seen enough. Now, in defense of him, that offensive line is horse shit. They embarrassed themselves not as a team yesterday. They couldn't block anybody. They were beating him to a setup. But when he does, Sigs, there's nothing electric about him anymore. There's nothing dynamic and precise about him. He'll make a few throws. I feel like he's watching the rush, and I don't blame him. They don't trust it. But you know what? Even if their offensive line was the Detroit Lions, that good, they're not going to the playoffs. See, there's something missing. That energy when he started in Seattle and ran through there was a different energy. He wasn't skittish. He now runs, and he had some good runs, but he's so reluctant to want to do it. The second the pocket breaks down, the first one, his head goes down. He misses easy throws. He's a great deep ball thrower. We don't see enough of it. I've seen enough, Sigs. He doesn't uplift the room anymore. I don't mean in a human way. I'm sure Russ is a great dude.
Right.
This is all football related. Now he'll go have a 300-yard game. But think about it. When he left Seattle, at the end of Seattle, he had lost that dynamic, dude. He was not the same. And then he goes to Denver. Some good, some bad. But the energy was never there. You never saw them week after week explode offensively. Something was missing. Even in the second year, bam, goes and heads to Pittsburgh. They win. He plays some beats. If he was that good, they'd have kept him.
Yes.
Boom. He again made him the starter again because there was nobody guaranteeing him a starting job at the time. But the energy and that gets it to another level. It's missing. And now he's with the Giants. And I saw it yesterday. Saying it doesn't matter with the offensive line. He'll make a few extra plays, but they need a shot of vitamin B12, a shot of Red Bull, a 5-hour energy, and whatever else those drinks can give you that jumps you through the roof. It's missing. I feel like Russ is laboring the entire game every time I watch him. He'll miss some throws. You say, how'd you miss that one? Yet he'll still make some plays with his feet. But my point is he doesn't make enough of them. And when you see a guy come in and uplifts like, oh my gosh, that's changed. I think that if you're talking about, there's no way he keeps his job all year because he's going to continue to get more skittish the more he gets hit. And one thing I know that the Russ Wilson I used to know made all kinds of plays on when things didn't happen. It's almost like he's a step behind in his decision making. It's just a step behind. If you're talking about energy, dude, you watch when they make the change. I don't know if they'll win. The energy will change. It is. I've seen enough. Not just I've seen enough. Russ Wilson is a backup quarterback in the NFL. Even listen, who wants to go through what he went through yesterday and get his ass kicked? Brian Dable's jumping up and down and giddy over a field goal. I mean, he's like giddy as could be, and I don't blame him. But those guys can't block me and you, and they're just not very good. Russ Wilson is a backup. Listen, be that motivator and mentor the young kid. It's time. Dable's going to lose his job. He keeps playing it. And it's not – Russ Wilson wasn't the reason. Wasn't the only reason. He missed stuff. The offensive line's bad. And then you talk about getting mauled yesterday defensively. Yeah. They got pain. They got pushed around and dominated, kind of like what Green Bay did to Detroit. The Washington did to them. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you, Segs, there's the energy I'm talking about, whatever that energy is. Yeah. And I'm not talking about Russ's competitiveness on a quarterback sneak. It was almost the apologetic bowl. The line's not very good. Russ has no chance at all. Russ had some times to make plays too, and he didn't. Okay, it's nothing personal. I like the guy. The football player to me is just average. He's a backup quarterback in the league right now that should not be starting. If they want different energy, I don't know about the result, different energy, at least Jackson Dart gives you an energy. It's time. The month of September should not get by without somebody else playing.
Yeah, I mentioned it with the Chiefs. It's the same thing goes for Russ Wilson. He looks slow. Just the process. Everything looks slow. Even when he takes
decision making, all of it.
Yes. Slow. Yes. And
I'm making the change like already. I know it's hard to. It's just there's no energy. There's nothing that gives me hope it's going to get better. Nothing. So when that hits, you got to do it.
This isn't new. We saw this Russ Wilson in Denver. We saw it at the end of Seattle, like you said. And he's on now his third team after Seattle, right? And they're still giving him chances to start. And
you got a better chance throwing it with Jameis Winston. You just do.
Yes,
he's a far better pure thrower. And the one advantage Russ always had was he was moxie in the game, and his legs would buy time and quick decision maker.
That's gone.
Russ Wilson, I hate to say it, is just a guy now. He is just a guy at quarterback, and I'd pick 25 guys. There's guys sitting on the bench that I'd take over him right now.
I don't know when the NFL is going to buck this trend of teams letting basically lame duck coaches like Brian Dable, because I think he's a lame duck coach. I think he could be fired during the season. If not, I think he will be gone after the season.
More than one during the season this year, Segs. You watch. Yes. More than one head coach.
But we have to stop, or teams have to stop drafting guys in the first round, making them sit through it, playing or not, playing through a system that we know is not going to be there the next year. And then boom, they come back. And I mean, you could explain it to me better, but it's got to be tough for a young quarterback to learn one whole system. Like Caleb Williams, for example, I'm a Bears fan. Last year he had to go through Shane Waldron's bullshit. And then it was the guy from Carolina, Thomas Brown. He came in.
It will set you back, Segs.
Yes,
it does. Too many.
And then Thomas Brown came in and was the interim head coach, and then somebody else came in and started helping the offense. And it's just all these different voices. It's got to be tough for these guys, but yet we see it every year where a team like the Giants that we know aren't going to be good draft a first-round quarterback, then he sits with this coach who's then gone the next year, and then boom, it's kind of like you're a rookie all over again, trying to figure out
you are one, especially if the verbiage changes. If it's a guy who doesn't come from a certain system of verbiage, now you got to relearn it in the offseason. You're working on remembering the place, so when you get to like a Jackson Dart, you got to come back and do it. Or if it happened in Cleveland and you're Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, it doesn't matter. Now, Flacco actually played like a pro. Flacco looked, he may not be able to move, but he still knows where to throw it and gives you a chance. And I'll tell you what, he gave them a chance. They should have won the game. Yeah. They sure should have. So, with that, though, Segs, I'm with you, lame ducks. And, okay, so let's just say they win 8 games. Let's say the Giants went on a roll, won 8 games. Yeah. Is he keeping his job?
I mean,
they're not winning 8 games, but maybe they will if they get a shot at vitamin B12.
Right. Say Jackson Dart took over and went 7-9 the rest of the year.
They may say, here's your rookie hall pass. We're going to give you another year.
Yes.
Right?
And he was outstanding. The offense was showing signs of getting better and all this stuff. Yeah, okay, maybe he does, just to keep that camaraderie, and maybe let's see if it can build into a second year. But it would be like Miami next year, keeping McDaniel and then going and drafting Garrett Nussmeier. And then, okay, now
And
he's
knowing they're
learning
going to fire him
McDonald.
6 weeks in. Right?
Yes. Now he's fired halfway through the
Say,
season.
let me ask you this.
That just has to stop.
Let me ask you this. If you said right now, if you're Brian Dable and you had to save your job and the whole coaching staff, who are you putting, whose hands you putting it in right now?
I think you would have to, if you're trying to just save your job, you're thinking of from
energy, just a different feel and look.
You have to go to the rookie because you build in the rookie excuse, and you're hoping for that shot of energy to.
And what if he's just better, Sigs?
Yes,
or you get Jaden Daniels, you get C.J. Stroud as rookies. You know, you get those guys who come in. Baker Mayfield as a rookie did some good things in Cleveland. I mean, you get that guy who says, "Damn, he yelled Bo Nix. Look at the energy he threw in there after." Well, Russ, like I said, Russ has had a hell of. Russ doesn't have to apologize to anybody about his career. This isn't a personal thing. I may disagree. He's a little kind of cheesy at times, but that's okay. Yeah. His commercials are his commercials. But as a player, the number one, you win. But the guys around you got to elevate, and I just don't see it there. So if it was me and I'm the head coach, I'm just saying, listen, man, stay ready. I'm keeping backups ready, but I am making this choice to go with somebody. We need a different energy and somebody who, when they're and on that team, especially when there's not, you can't block anybody. Don't you want a guy who can at least improvise? Russ, you get Jackson Dart is who Russ Wilson used to be,
right?
Who Russ Wilson used to be, and maybe a little bit. I mean, at least coming out of college, a more dynamic player coming out of college. Now, Russ turned into that. But we didn't know Russ at North Carolina State and Wisconsin was bringing this, what he brought to Seattle. You didn't think that's why, hence the third-round pick. You knew he could play. Well, Jackson Dart, now Jackson Dart's going to have a game where he throws 4 picks when he plays Sigs. You know that guy. Yeah. But I got news for you. He is going to let it rip. There's a balls and a guts about him that I just, as bad as the offensive line was, and I know that they're going to blame it on that, I just don't think he makes the building when it comes to on the field better. Good guy doesn't make it better. I would have already made the move. Hell, I might have even started him coming out of training camp because I'm not worried about his fragile personality because I don't think Jackson Dart's fragile, and I don't give a shit. I drafted you because you better be tough because this is football, man. And if you're not, you'll play your way right out of the position.
Well, and to your point, he's already said that Russ Wilson will be starter week 2. They play at the Cowboys. Then they come home and play the Chiefs, as I mentioned earlier. Do you want to start him against Patrick Mahomes, Jackson Dart, that is? Do you want to start him against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? I don't know about that. Then you have the Chargers. I wouldn't want to start him in that game either, just because.
Cowboys defense isn't very good.
Exactly.
Although they showed up and played a little bit decent. I mean, I just soon get him worked out. I at least want a package for him, dude. I just got. I do.
Get him on the field and get him a little loose. So now I think we're looking at week 5. They play at New Orleans. New Orleans isn't a very good football team.
But that's a game Russ is going to go win, right? Exactly. He's going to go win that game. So it doesn't matter.
So it's just one of those things of when, not if, but when Jackson Dart is named the starter and taken over. And who knows? We've seen it multiple times that rookies come in at halftime and take over. So
Tom Savage did that. I mean, Savage was starting when Bill O'Brien, Deshaun's not ready. Well, he put Deshaun in and they immediately got better. Right. It was, hey, man, he's not ready. He's not ready coming out of preseason. I need a veteran with experience. But at halftime, he got ready because
that
30 minutes of football, boy, and never got the job back. Somebody else never got the job back until, of course, Watson was going doing his thing. But yeah, I remember that. Oh, adamant. No, Savage is best for us right now at halftime. Well, no, Savage isn't best for us anymore. Good on Tom, but I'm just saying we knew it was inevitable. And this is inevitable. It's just a matter of what game and at what time this year to get Jackson Dart in the Giants lineup.
Yeah, something before we wrap up here, something that I want to talk about tomorrow because I think we need to look into it a little bit more. But down there in Houston, Kerry McNair, Cal's brother, Bob's other son, is suing the NFL and Cal for basically trying to figure out why he was ousted out of the organization, why he was ousted out of the NFL. And they're making a lot of claims about Cal and covering up Deshaun Watson's situation with the masseuses and all that, saying that the Texans paid for rooms, paid for they brought the tables in themselves. The
I
organization.
think a lot of us already know. I think a lot of us kind of anticipate that anyway. Segs.
Right.
I mean,
So
I don't think that's a secret that he's bringing.
What could happen, and I think that's what we kind of need to wait for tomorrow to see what people are saying, see if it becomes a bigger story than maybe it is right at this second. And now the show's been going on, so we haven't had a chance to look at much. But Cal McNair's not loved around the NFL.
He's become more loved in Houston after their last couple of years of success.
Yes, but we will see, do other owners get involved? What is Roger Goodell? They say they want to sit down with Roger Goodell. Would Goodell even sit down with him? I doubt it. I think this is going to have to be a courtroom thing.
Somebody's going to claim it's frivolous and it's right.
They want.
And one thing I know about the McNairs, they got money to hire a good lawyer.
Yes,
that I can promise you.
Well, and that's the interesting thing that I forgot. Kerry McNair hired Tony Busby.
Well, of course.
So
for those that don't know, he's the one who Busby's handled a lot of stuff going on in the Watson defendants.
Yes.
Watson was the defendant. The plaintiffs were Tony Busby's, all of his.
Yes.
Yeah. He's become a household name across the country.
Yes, and he knows that Houston organization from that situation very, very well.
You read a lot of paperwork, Segs, when that was going on, needless to say.
A lot.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes. They weren't that impressive yesterday, Segs.
No.
They didn't run it. It looked like Groundhog Day from the year before. Defense is going to be filthy, and they still had a chance to win. And offensive line gets in trouble. They mix and match. They can't block anybody. And their run game, Nick Chubb had to create his own way. And Nico Collins just can't see the ball 3 or 4 times. He has got to see the ball more. They looked skittish on offense, and it looked like Nick Caley was calling his very first game ever because their approach was conservative at best. And you can't go on the road to Rams, turn it over, and not block for your quarterback and not get a run game and not make big plays vertically down the field and expect to win against the Matt Stafford team. Yet they were driving to win it even after that, which is a tribute to the defense. When all said and done, that will be their defining. The defense will define them, not the quarterback play, even though I think Stroud's special.
What's your concern level when it comes to CJ Stroud? Struggling as a sophomore or in his sophomore year in the NFL, comes out week 1. Obviously, it's a new offense, trying to figure things out, missing some players, but the offensive line's bad. We all know that. The run game is a question mark because Nick Chubb's health, mixing down, and
they don't move the pass. Everybody's playing in their backfield, pass or run, all the time, the time.
What's your thinking on CJ Stroud at the moment, being down there in Houston?
I think CJ's in better shape than he's been. He put a major commitment, and I think a lot of that has to do with what he realizes he's going to have to endure. Because he's admitted he can't take that punishment. You know what he said? He intimated that this past week wasn't very good. That he was concerned about the way they practiced, and it showed. And a quarterback has his eye, he's got his finger on the. Of course it is. How are you not ready to play against the Rams in a regular season game after 2 weeks off from the preseason? And it's the opener, and we're trying. You're on the road. You shouldn't need any motivation or how do we practice. I'm just telling you.
Is that a D'Amico Ryans problem?
Well, it is
going to be good.
It is if they allow it, Segs. If they're allowing practice like. Last year, there was talk about the offensive line that their meeting room was undisciplined on the practice field, and it showed. So if they haven't fixed that now, and they're still and they haven't buttoned that up on the offensive side of the ball, and they're not good enough with all the injuries they've had at wide receiver. With Diggs being gone now and Tank Dell being hurt, and they're trying to get this thing going again from Christian Kirk and the group, and they've got young receivers, so it's going to be incumbent that CJ's allowed to read this through. But as you well know, I don't care who you are. When you are playing on your ass, and CJ's got underrated athleticism, but they have got to allow him to deliver the ball between the tackles and be a little more. He's a great mid-level thrower. He really is. And they've got to take more shots. But Segs, my concern is that he starts to get to the point where the trust wanes so much that his eyes are darting to the pass rush and not down the field, because the guy is an elite thrower of the football, but we have seen it take a step back, and it's not by accident that lack of aggressive play calling and an offensive line, and when the run game is suspect at times, then you're saying defense, you got to hold them to 14, and quarterback, you have to make every friggin' play. Yeah. So CJ can play, but I am concerned about it because, and now there you go, another tight end, Cade Stover. That's new. He's Stover. He's their best blocking tight end right now.
Yep.
And now it's the second tight end they've lost to. They've
And that the guy Stroud's familiar with from Ohio State.
That's exactly right. Expected to make an impact. You saw him get the ball to the tight end a little more yesterday, to both tight ends involved yesterday. But I can tell you this, they got to elevate on the perimeter, and Nico Collins must be involved. But Segs, if it's a pass-happy team right now, they're not blocking anybody. You thought the Giants are as bad as we saw, but I'm telling you what, with all their self-inflicted errors, the Texans aren't far behind. They couldn't play worse than they did last year offensive line-wise. And in the opener, they looked like the same team in a Groundhog Day in the movie with Bill Murray that I saw last year.
Yeah. Lastly, what do you expect from Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, the Bears offense tonight being his first regular season game under Ben Johnson? And then the Vikings, what do you expect from J.J. McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell, and that group? It's kind of the same situation, but not.
Right. I expect McCarthy. First off, remember now, Goff, nobody has owned Brian Flores like Ben Johnson's team staff in Detroit. But here's the difference. They don't have Montgomery and Gibbs and right now. That's the Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've got some players. So that helps. But he's been able to solve Brian Flores and all those blitzes right now. So in this game, a couple things stick out. One, McCarthy, they're sold on him, or they wouldn't have let Sam walk and all Daniel Jones get away to the Colts and all that. They're sold on him. They're going to protect him, though, throwing the ball. Sakes. What he's going to try to do what Jim did at Michigan, throw it 24, 25 times, try and a lot of play and use his legs to get him comfortable and that stuff where he's not holding the ball long. Now, the Vikings have gotten better in the interior offensive line. They went out and spent money on the offensive line. They went out and got Thielen, although Addison's, dumb mistakes have cost them, but they still got Jefferson. So if you take one away, is McCarthy right now, will he get through his progressions at a young age? He's a smart guy. In the NFL, it's just different because they're going to disguise coverages and they're going to make it look different. So advantage Chicago when it comes to that, but the Vikings have enough players and they run it pretty damn well, Segs. They went and got Mason this offseason from San Francisco. So they can run it. Now, they'll be committed to it because that's what Kyle Shanahan's treated. Those guys want to run it. But I'm curious, do they have the firepower on offense? The quarterback's dynamic. Now, one thing Ben Johnson's never had, as good as Goff is from the pocket, he ain't ever had an athlete like this as his quarterback. So, and I thought Caleb made strides in the preseason, even though it's the preseason, Segs. Flores is going to pressure. You should expect some big plays off schedule as well as on schedule from Chicago. And you know what, Segs? It's Monday Night Football. You think Ben Johnson doesn't know the camera's watching? He loves this shit.
Yep.
He absolutely loves it. So if there's a reverse double pass, throw ball back to Caleb Williams, get him on the edge, he's going to bandwidth the hell out of the Vikings. Why? He's going to do everything he can to make Brian Flores blitz. The one thing about this blitz, even if he misses it with his visuals and his checks, meaning Caleb Williams, Segs, you can't miss, because if the first guy misses on a blitz, Caleb Williams will destroy you.
Yes.
And with his legs and his arms. So I'm anxious to see where the patience is with Ben Johnson, how he knowing that Flores is going to blitz, knowing how disciplined they are, is do they over pursue and overrun where Caleb Williams destroys them like he did at SC to everybody offensively. So this is a great cat and mouse from a guy who's been really good against Flores, from a guy, Flores, who's not backing off pressure. And it comes down to young quarterback, new head coach, but man, I'm excited to see second-year quarterback, but really a rookie because it's a new system for him and he hasn't taken a snap in the NFL. And McCarthy, run it. Both teams are going to have to run it. But Segs, it's the pressure from Flores matched up against the chess match of Ben Johnson with a guy who's a dynamic talent. The question is, does that expand against a team? If you can do it against Ben, and now they're back in, they gave up some big plays, but they're aggressive, Segs. Their front seven's really good, and they got edge rushers. But you almost got to be passive-aggressive, because if you over-pursue it, guys like him and Lamar, and they make you miss Josh Allen, then they punish you. And that's his comfort zone. Caleb Williams' comfort zone is off schedule, off platform. So we'll see how much on schedule, simple stuff that they can get done, even if a blitz comes from the slot, to be able to throw a hot read and get it out on time so you don't take the hit and you're not always just scrambling. The patience and progression for both quarterbacks, getting through to a second or third guy, but both are capable of huge plays with their feet. And I would expect both coordinators to dial up scheduled runs, not just off-scheduled runs, when they're breaking it down and making a play.
Yeah, I look at the Bears when you look at
Closer than you would have thought last year. This is
Yes.
going to be a good football game.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Bears' skill players, you've got DJ Moore, you've got Cole Kmet, you got DeAndre Swift, who are kind of your veterans. But then you're very young with Caleb Williams. Roma Dunze's only in his second year. Colston Loveland, who you drafted at 10, is in
But
his
two
rookie
really
year.
good talents, those
Yes,
things, right?
Yes. Luther Burden, who we know has all kinds of talent. They were,
Yep.
I mean, I feel like they were very lucky to get him in the second round at pick 43 or whatever it was. So the Bears have dynamic playmakers. Now, can Caleb get him the ball within the system that Ben wants to run? And will Ben
on time throwing slants right now, Sigs, like Goff did, which is going to be tough to do.
And where we haven't seen Ben Johnson is have a guy, like you mentioned, like Caleb Williams, who can play off platform and work out of the pocket and beat you with his arm or his legs. Will Ben Johnson let Caleb do that a little bit this early in the season, at least, while they're still not fully comfortable with each other, because it is just the first year? That's what I'm waiting to see if he lets this younger offense. And remember, they built their offensive line, rebuilt it.
No doubt.
Got three new interior guys.
It's become a really good. Both of these teams have offensive linemen teams that can hold up under pressure. They can.
Yes. So it's going to be fascinating.
No, it really
will
be
fascinating to see Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams work together on Monday Night Football, like you said, with all the cameras on them.
I'm going to tell you to keep an eye on too, because everybody in the world is expecting, okay, how's JJ? Both quarterbacks is we wonder how they adjust. But I'm just telling you, if you're Minnesota, be careful not to get lulled into, we just got it with Aaron Jones, with Mace, we got to run it, and use his legs, because you're going to have to throw it in this game at some point to make a few plays. And on the other side, I can't wait to see how much pressure Brian Flores brings, how much he tries to disguise it and okey-doke Caleb Williams into some bad decisions. And then if this is the mad scientist and Ben Johnson saying, oh, my gosh, I get a chance with Caleb Williams. Boy, do they know. And I've had Brian Flores' number, but wait till they get a load of me with a versatile quarterback who's actually got feet enough to kill you with his legs, like the two guys we saw on Sunday Night Football. So I'm anxious to see it. I think this is a fun football game to start, because the Bears are no longer anybody's just – doormat. The Bears are going to be competitive.
The defense is beat up. We don't know yet if Jalen Johnson's going to play. He's a top 5 corner in the game.
Right.
Kyler Gordon, the very good nickelback.
Yeah, Jalen's still questionable, right? It's a game-time decision.
They're both questionable. So you could be losing your two best secondary players, which you would think would allow J.J. McCarthy to throw the ball a little bit more without those two guys out there. And then T.J. Edwards doesn't seem like he's going to play. Noah Sewell from Oregon will step in his place. So Bears defense is beat up, but it's week 1. There's teams beat up. You got to step up and Ben
That's
Johnson.
Why you got good backups, right? That's why you got to trust those guys. And Segs, one last thing is, and then you say, oh, there's that Jefferson cat who's pretty good. But guess who's not beating me in this game if I can help it? If they give him single coverage, now you're playing in. Then you take here's one thing to look for too. If the Bears do play man and decide, well, we're going to go man up on Jefferson a handful of times in this game. If they got I understand
this is Dennis Allen's defense.
No, that's exactly
do it. Yep.
There you go. So if you're going to do that, if you are going to do that, then the one thing that you have to guard against if you're that defense is that you better force him. You better get to him quickly. And you better get him at the line of scrimmage and play physical with him and make sure you maul him so he doesn't get a clean release. Because he gets a clean release, he's going to dominate. He's going to dominate. But I'm rolling something over the top. Segs, I can't go. If I come out of this game and Jefferson has 9 catches for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, shame on the Bears, or that just Jefferson dresses in a phone booth and does it. But what happens is with when you get this, the other guy, whoever the number 2 is, should get a lot of look. And if McCarthy's going through his reads. But you can also get lulled into, if you're blitzing, it makes the reads easier for a quarterback. And you say, well, Sean, pressure on a quarterback if you don't get to him. Because why, Segs, in zone, what happens? These guys are going through their progressions. The defender's eyes are on the quarterback. You're manipulating with your eyes going through. In man, it becomes a one-man read. So you take the decision-making out for the quarterback. Because if I get man coverage, who are you going to? I'm throwing it to Jefferson, right? If I get man coverage, which is why I can't imagine you're going to see Dennis Allen do a ton of it. But you're going to have to mix it in a little and hope that you get to the quarterback and pressure him a little bit. But don't miss on either side because these quarterbacks are both capable of killing you with their legs. But it takes a lot of decision-making out and patience away from the quarterback, especially in their first start where they're like, oh, they're playing man. Good. Drop back, make it a 3-step quick drop on the fade route and let Jefferson go do his thing.
Right.
So you're taking out the questions of, can I get through my progressions? Something to watch for tonight and see how both Flores and Dennis Allen deal with quarterbacks that are fairly similar with their legs, that know how to buy time, but both we're not sure what the next level, especially for McCarthy, is because we haven't seen him throw a football in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll break it all down tomorrow. Also, Sean, I want to talk tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers more, 4 touchdowns for the Steelers. Does this take, we saw them with Russ still be over 500 because we know Mike Tomlin, he never finishes below. Does Aaron Rodgers really take them up a notch to be a real contender in the AFC? I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the Packers D-line more, just how dominant they were when Micah Parsons was in the game, which was only 29 snaps.
Yeah.
But they were really, really dominant. And then we'll break this game down. Plus college. Couple teams had some scares that we talked about.
Is Clemson overrated?
Yeah. And we talked about Clemson being they lost, but we thought they looked good in week 1 against LSU in terms of keeping it close.
They haven't looked good in either game.
Yeah. And then
Mateer's pretty good, bud.
Yeah, Mateer is very good. And I think that game went exactly like I thought it would. But Florida, is there trouble in Gainesville?
You think a couple of teams in the ACC and SEC that we thought were going to look a lot different than we've seen them the first couple of weeks of the season. And back to the Aaron Rodgers will hit Segs for me. It's the best they've had as far as throwers since Big Ben talked about. Yeah. But I can tell you this: the thing that I noticed most about Rodgers, it looked like he was having fun being there, which
it looked like Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay.
I 100% agree. So we'll hit all that tomorrow too, brother. Good stuff.
Man. All right. That was it. Great job by Coach JB. Joins us every Monday. He was awesome as always. And thanks to Triple E, Laura, everybody. This is Unpaid with Sean Salisbury. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.